Hello, I'm Burt Green, this is the Burt Locker, this is Casual's Guide to UFC Vegas 71 that's coming our way this Saturday. Now, if you're new to this, basically what I do quick hits, fast, informative, just giving you quick hits, light, funny information on every single fight on this card. I usually get the whole card done in under 15 minutes. I'm not sure most MMA podcasts aren't doing that. They want 2 hours of your time to go through a card. All I want is 15 minutes. 15 minutes, light, fun, informative. That's what this is. So that you get the most out of the card when you watch it. Because it's always better when you know a little bit about the fighters who are on. So that's why a lot of people skip the prelims. But let me just tell you what these fighters are about a little bit. Just a little bit. UFC Vegas 71. Casual's Guide. Coming right up. So, we're going to be starting off in the welterweight division. We have Carlston Harris taking on Abu Bakr Nurmagomedov. No relation, so far as I can tell, to Khabib, although he is from the same region of the world and he's got a little bit, some similar stylistic traits, let's say. 6 foot 76 inch reach is playing 5 foot 11 with a 72 inch reach, so a 4 inch reach for Carlston Harris. Now, Carlston's middle name is Lindsay. I wouldn't call him that, not to his face. He looks like an absolute murderer. Guyana he's from. He looks like a killer. So before hitting the UFC, Harris actually beat Michel Pereira and Wellington Turman. They're two good fighters, to be fair. He's well-rounded. Look, he'll knock you out. He will submit you. He likes to do whatever he can get his hands on. Now, it says that Abu Bakr is 33. I don't believe that for a second. He's 50 if he's a day. He is weathered. He is just, yeah, look at him. He's like a piece of old shoe leather. He's one of Khabib's guys. He got suspended for the scuffle with McGregor, famously. He's pretty good. Look, Sambo and all that, master of sport in Sambo. You know the deal with these guys from Russia. I'm going to pick Harris, though, by decision in this one, because actually, Abu Bakr is not undefeated. He's not quite the fighter that Khabib was. Harris is a tough nut to crack, I think. I like Harris in that one. Tyson Nam taking on Bruno Silva. So you've got USA taking on Brazil. 5'7", 68 inch reach, plays 5'4" with a 65 inch reach. So a slight reach advantage for Tyson Nam. Nam is a kickboxer. He did judo when he was very young, from about 6. I don't know how long for, but he's had a few fights in the UFC. He's won half of them. All of his UFC wins are from knockouts. He's got very, very good hands. Bruno Silva is not the middleweight Bruno Silva, which has proven very difficult in researching the flyweight Bruno Silva. This is where this fight's taken place, 125 pounds. Unless Bruno Silva, the middleweight, has cut to 125 pounds, I don't know what to tell you. There's just not much information coming up on a flyweight Bruno Silva. It only comes up with the middleweight. I'm going to take Tyson Nam by knockout. I think that's a relatively safe bet. Victor Henry taking on Tony Gravely. Now it's 5'7", 68 inch reach, playing 5'5", 69 inch reach. Slight reach advantage for Gravely. Henry's got 2 UFC fights. He's got 1 win, 1 loss. Both of them decisions. He lost to Rafael Sansao. Now, I like Tony Gravely because he is from Martinsville, West Virginia. And if you grew up there, I've got to tell you, he must be tough as old boots. He can survive anything. I've been to West Virginia, Martinsville. It's the home of the Martinsville Speedway, the NASCAR I went to last year. And just for that, just because I've been there, I'm going to pick Gravely, just for no other reason other than that. Ariane Lipski taking on JJ Aldrich. 5'6", plays 5'5", a half an inch reach for Aldrich. Now, Lipski has been in the UFC since 2019 she's got a pretty salty record. She lost to McCann, Valentina's sister, Antonio Calderwood as well. She's a Muay Thai fighter, largely stands up. Aldrich has been in the UFC since 2016 and she has not made an impression. So this one is a little bit of a trash off for me. Aldrich by decision. I don't know what to tell you. Mario Batista taking on Guido Canetti. Now you've got 5'9", playing 5'6", with a 4 inch reach for Bautista. It's not the former world heavyweight wrestling champion Dave Bautista. This is Mario Bautista. He's an MMA lab guy. I do like the MMA lab guys. They're pretty good. In fact, I do remember seeing Batista when he fought Brian Kelleher. He got him in a rear naked choke. And Kelleher is someone I rate pretty highly, so I quite like that win. Guido is a 43-year-old Argentine kickboxer. He's currently at Team Alpha Male. He beat Chris Matinho, which is that green-haired guy that Sean O'Malley beat until he was basically dead standing up. Look, if Bautista doesn't win, he should be pretty upset with himself. He's fighting a 43-year-old Argentine kickboxer. Come on. You've got to beat those guys. So, yeah. Taking Bautista in that one. Cedric Dumas versus Josh Fremd. Now, I thought it was Framo. That would have been easier to say, nonetheless. 6'3", reach, God only knows, doesn't say. Playing 6'4", 76-inch reach. Now, Dumas, he looks like he's straight out of one of, like, not the old rap videos, these new rap videos where they've all got those stupid, like, grills and they've got, like, all ridiculous things all over their faces. He has got all the shittest tattoos. He really does. He looks half asleep. He's got tattoos on his face. He looks like he's made a few interesting life decisions up to this point. You know, he might be a really good fighter. He's 7-0. He's undefeated. I hope his MMA career works out, because if not, he's definitely going to be in a gang of some sort. He's probably already in one. Fremd, he has quite a shit tattoo as well. It's just not on his face, it's on his shoulder. He also doesn't have a UFC win. I think he gets creamed here against an undefeated gang member by the looks of it. So, Rafael Sansao taking on Davy Grant, 135 pounds this one. 5'5", playing 5'8", with a reach advantage of about 3 inches, 2.5 inches for Davy Grant. Now, Sansao has been in the UFC since 2012. He's been up and down. He's Brazilian. He does Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu very well. His striking is okay, but he is an excellent grappler. That's what he kind of gravitates towards. Don't let him get a hold of you, basically. Now, Davy Grant, he's from Newcastle. He's a gamer. He's very hard to put away. He's so tough. Watch his fights with Marlon Chito Vera. He's very, very good. And his stand-up is really nice. He's actually got some real deceptive power in his hands, and he just puts on great fights. I'm just a very big fan of his. Look, if Grant uses his reach and he's able to keep it standing, to stop Rafael Asanso's takedowns, I think Asansao had to get this to the ground. I do think that if it stays standing, Grant is going to piece him up, and that's what I hope happens, because I'm just a big Davy Grant fan. But make no mistake, if Asansao gets a hold of you, that's a problem. Now, Carl Williams is taking on Lukas Brecki. Now, this is heavyweights. 7-1 Carl Williams taking on the Polish Brecki. 6'3", playing 6'3". They're both the same height, similar reach, I think. There's no reach actually disclosed for Williams, so I don't really know. Williams is a bit of a mystery. He's 33 years old. He's making his MMA debut, his UFC debut, rather. He tends to either get the TK or the decision, so I don't really know much about his fighting style. He's a bit of a mystery. Now, Lukas, I know a little bit about. I've seen him before. From what I've seen, he does tend to strike. He hits pretty hard. Obviously, he's a Polish heavyweight. Of course, he hits hard. Now, this is a coin toss. I'm going to take the Polish fella, because I do want to say that it's weird they went with this as the prelim headliner rather than Asansao versus Davy Grant. That seems like an odd decision to me, because Asansao versus Grant, that could be fight of the night easily, because Davy Grant puts on ridiculously good fights, whereas then you've got two unknown heavyweights in the prelim headliner when you could have had Asansao Grant as the prelim headliner. Makes no sense to me. I don't structure the cards, but if I did, I'd have swapped those two fights around personally. Then you've got the main card. You've got Vitor Petrino, merciless, taking on Anton Turkazh. So you've got it's a 205 pounds, light heavyweight, 6'3", plays 6'4", 78-inch reach for Anton. I don't know Petrino's reach. So Vitor, he seems to look like a killer, at least. Right, look at the state of him. Gigantic. He's on those Brazilian supplements, and he must be. 7 wins, 6 knockouts. He got a knockout in the Dana White Contender Series. Anton the Pleasure Man, that's his nickname. Brilliant nickname. I don't know what he intends to do to his opponents, quite frankly. The Pleasure Man. It all sounds a bit dubious, doesn't it? Anyway, he lost his debut, but it was to Jailton Almeida. Jailton Almeida's an absolute killer, so it's hardly fair, is it? Petrino's probably going to take the Pleasure Man's consciousness, but I kind of hope not, because I just like the nickname the Pleasure pleasure, man. It's one of the greatest nicknames I've ever heard. I want him to win. I want him to stick around. Don't see it, though, because Petrino looks like an absolute beast. Saeed Nurmagomedov taking on Jonathan Martinez at 135 pounds. 5'8", 70-inch reach, plays 5'8", 70-inch reach, so completely the same tail of the tape. One of the Dagestan wrestling crew, Nurmagomedov, is a key word there. I don't think he's related to Khabib. He might be. Who knows? Look, he's pretty good. He's got some decent chokes. He's got that style, that Dagestan wrestling style. He's just, you know, he's good. Now, Martinez is a very good kickboxer. Ridiculous leg kicks. He stopped Cub Swanson with leg kicks. Cub Swanson's good. I would say strength of schedule, Martinez has probably fought slightly better opponents. So I like Martinez here. Look, if he can keep the fight standing, he should piece Saeed Nurmagomedov up. But it's a big if, isn't it? Because against any of those Dagestan guys, keeping it standing is very, very difficult. Then you've got Ricardo Ramos taking on Austin Lingo, 145 pounds, 5'9", 72-inch reach, plays 5'10", 70-inch reach. Ramos is a BJJ black belt. He's currently at Team Alpha Male, which is Uriah Faber's old gym. He's got excellent submissions. He can also hit you with a spinning back kick if he likes. And Lingo is a purple belt in BJJ, but a Taekwondo black belt. So he's probably slightly the opposite to Ramos in terms that he can grapple, but he prefers to strike. So whereas, you know, Ramos prefers to grapple, but can strike. Ramos has probably got the edge here. I'll take Ramos probably by submission. Nikita Krylov taking on Ryan Spann. This one has been rescheduled. It was supposed to happen a couple of weeks ago. This one's taking place at light heavyweight. You've got 6'3", 77.5-inch reach, playing 6'5", 79-inch reach. So you've got the height and reach for Spann. Krylov is a former submission grappling champion. He's a strong former heavyweight, 15 submissions on his record. He's weathered, he's grizzled, he's a veteran. He'll usually get the submission. Whereas Spann, he's very tall for a light heavyweight, 6'5", is pretty tall. He's got good striking, he covers distance very well. He's got good power. He does have submissions, but in grappling, I don't think he's going to be able to touch Krylov. I don't think grappling with Krylov is advised here. I think the path of least resistance is to keep Krylov standing and use your reach. I like Krylov here though, because Spann is coming off 2 good wins. I say good wins. They're against Reyes and Ion Cutelaba, but who hasn't beaten those 2 guys lately? For me, Krylov, he's a slightly different beast. He's a step up in competition. I like the submission for Krylov in that one. Now, Alexander Volkov taking on Alexander Romanov is in the heavyweight division. Interesting one. 6'7", plays 6'2". You've got like a 5-inch reach for Drago, that being Alexander Volkov. Volkov, he's a scary Russian kickboxer, why I call him Drago. He can play at range. Unless he gets out-speeded, out-sprinted. He has lots of power. He's hard to take down because he's just so bloody big. Romanov was tearing through the division, 1 knockout at a time until he ran into Marcin Tybura, who just nullified everything he did completely. Now, the height and reach of Volkov are going to be difficult to beat here. I'm not sure that Romanov has the speed or the grappling to kind of negate it, to deal with it, because the only reason that Garn was able to deal with Volkov's reach is because he was so fast. He was able to get in and out. I don't see Romanov having that kind of speed. For that reason, I do like Volkov in this fight, probably by knockout. Peter Yan versus Merab Dvalishvili in the main event, 135 pounds, 5'7", plays 5'6", with a 68-inch reach for Dvalishvili, so 1-inch in reach. You've got Peter Yan, he's the former 135-pound champion. He's an all-round bad guy. You can just tell he's a real piece of work, right? He's got the right job. He's got great hands. He's got decent grappling, but he can get dominated by really good wrestlers, which unfortunately Merab Dvalishvili is. He's a teammate of Aljamain Sterling, so there's some personal business here. He's an extremely good wrestler, like impossibly good at wrestling. He's very fast, he's got cardio for days, and he doesn't get tired. He just beats people by putting a pace on them they can't keep up with. Now, Yan has to keep this standing, whereas Merab, he can kind of compete wherever this fight goes, in my opinion. So for me, Merab Dvalishvili is going to win this one. I think he puts on a pace that Yan can't keep up with, mixes in a takedown, dominates from there. That's where I think this one is going. Merab Dvalishvili by decision. We're going to see how all these fights go next week. And if you enjoyed the video, please hit like. Well, just hit subscribe. That's all I need to do. Just hit subscribe. Don't think, hit subscribe. Thank you. Until next time, keep all those odds long and those bets terrible.